Y'all, we need to talk. We need to talk. I need to get all this information out of my brain and into this video and into the ether of whatever it is this internet is these days. Hopefully the dead internet theory is not real and there are still people out there listening to listening to people and information. Who even knows at this point? At this point, are we even on the internet anymore? I know I am because I'm chronically online, but I'm trying to fix that. Anyways, I have gone down so many rabbit holes this week and I need to just dump everything out and talk about it. And when this week, let's just back up. This week has been a very interesting week for the news. Now, if you're watching the mainstream news, there's nothing crazy going on. Or maybe there is, but nothing to the caliber of what I'm talking about. If you watch news that is maybe on the fringe of what is happening and not bought and paid for, there is a lot of news about certain emails that have come out. A lot of emails. A lot of emails. I don't even know if I can say what the emails are, but you're going to know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know, girl, I don't even know how to explain it to you. There's way too much to get into, and this is not the rabbit hole that I'm getting into because I am not that type of channel, but I do want to talk about what this means for the world. And here's the thing. How are people going throughout their days and being just normal, knowing the emails and the information that is dropped? Because I sit here and I'm in the public. I'll be at the gym on the freaking treadmill and I'm like, do you know what's going on? Do you know that this person said this? Do you know that this person was caught doing this? And we just are acting like nothing's wrong and nothing's weird and the entire system as a whole is completely collapsing before our eyes and everything is changing at light speed. And 2025 and 2026 is the year of just utter, what is in the dark has come to light. All right. So when I think about this, I have been really fascinated with what we can know about the world because of history. I feel like to really, really know what's going on, you need to look back in time and what has happened similarly to this experience. Now, when I think about systems that have fallen and things that have just changed rapidly because of something happening and truth coming to light, I actually think about the printing press. Now, I am not a scholarly person. If this is not a historian channel, essentially, is what I'm saying. One of the biggest, if not the biggest and most impactful inventions in the world was the printing press. I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about this man who made the printing press, but then we're going to get right back into the cultural aspect and why I'm thinking about the printing press right now. Okay? Because this is one of the rabbit holes that I've been going down, trying to understand what the freak is happening in the world, because I don't even know. But German goldsmith Johannes Gutenberg is credited with inventing the printing press around 1436. Although he was far from the first to automate the book printing process, woodblock printing in China dates back to the 9th century, and Korean bookmakers were printing with movable metal type a century before Gutenberg. Interesting. Most historians believe Gutenberg's adaptation, which employed a screw-type wine press to squeeze down evenly on the inked metal type, was the key to unlocking the modern age. And I believe it was movable as well, okay? The thing about the printing press and why I've been thinking about it is because it basically removed so many barriers when it came to information and made information way more readily available. Meaning it made the information that possibly some people on the upper level did not want out there. Very out there. And because of that, revolutions started happening. There was I believe a Russian Revolution. The Renaissance period really, really took off after the printing press, and there was people going on crazy adventures trying to preserve all of this knowledge from these monasteries and these old churches and everything around the world, really rural areas, which is cool. That's a cool thing, but it really just rocked the world, okay? And information was readily available. information that people did not like. Now, there was this man named Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King, another Martin Luther, way before his time. And he is really famous because he actually talked about opposing the Catholic Church, and he became one of the best-selling authors at that time. And the only reason why his message would be able to catch fire and spread throughout the land was because of the printing press. So people really tie his name to the printing press. Yeah, he just had new ideas when it came to the Catholic Church. I believe I have this thing right here that kind of talks about it. It was early 16th century, Martin Luther quickly saw the advantages of making his vernacular treatises available cheaply to a growing body of avid lay followers. His rebellion against the Catholic Church made him a celebrity and simulated the publishing industry. Interesting. I was reading about all these revolutions and all these things and how the printing press came about, and I'm just like, man, that really seems like what AI and the internet is doing today, because there was even a machine scare that happened where people that were working in, the libraries, wherever people were working for books being made and the news at that time, they were worried about losing their jobs because of this machine. Yeah? Kind of sounds like AI. And people had to be adaptable and move out of that because the printing press, everybody saw how amazing and incredible it was and adopted it very, very quickly, even though people lost their jobs, which is very sad, but actually pretty much a very big part of innovation in our history. Even like the Industrial Revolution or cars, horses were out of a job. But it made everything more efficient, Anyways, yeah, I really was thinking about this a lot because I'm just like, the internet is the new printing press. Obviously, I'm not the first one to have talked about this. I'm not even like the 4,000th person that has made this comparison, I'm sure. But I think about people like Martin Luther at this time, and I'm like, those people are really important. And freedom of speech is very important. And freedom of thought and information is very important. So although I'm not going to get into things very deeply that are happening within the world right now, meaning emails, I encourage you to think about what this means for the world and also do your own research, understand what's going on, and also be adaptable because there are crazy things happening. There are systems that are crumbling. But what's beautiful is like after the systems crumble, new things can form. So like the Renaissance period, things can happen that are positive after crazy things that are happening, okay? Because I don't even know what to think right now. I don't even know what side I'm on. I don't even know if there's not sides, there's good versus evil. But like in terms of anything happening, I literally have no idea besides we need to be adaptable. We need to be aware. We need to spread information like wildfire and still be creative. Yeah. That's pretty much it for the first thought form I had, because there's no way that I couldn't not think about this. I feel like this is what most people are thinking about right now. Also, I'm so sorry, but Fresca supremacy is here and is here to stay. And I'm the one that is at the forefront of the charge. I'm on the front lines of the Fresca supremacy, because if you want caffeine in your soda, just drink coffee, okay? Fresca is the best tasting soda pop out there. It doesn't have caffeine, but it's amazing. And I don't know, like just drink your coffee if you want a caffeine. Fresca's the best. I try and drink like Diet Dr. Pepper, Diet Coke, all those things. And I'm just like, there's very rare times that I don't understand it. Most of the times I'm like, huh? You want to taste, like, what is the taste? What am I even tasting? There's actually a lot of people that will go off of sodas like that and sugars and stuff in general and then taste stuff like that again. And they're like, it literally tastes like chemicals. It's just chemicals that we've become accustomed to because we've become accustomed to it. And so we're used to the chemical taste. But like, y'all don't even understand what we're actually drinking. We're just so used to it, which I'm sure Fresca has its own problems in terms of ingredients and things, but live a little. I don't know. Secondly, I have been going down a rabbit hole when it comes to Marilyn Monroe. There's a few reasons why. I don't even know if both of these rabbit holes kind of correlate with each other, but it's just something my brain has been doing, okay? And I like tried to make it fit in this like neatly, show, and I couldn't. And so I just decided to spew it onto you anyways, because I'm sure you want to know about this random stuff. What else do you have to do? I'm just kidding. If you have something to do, I give you full permission to turn me off and go do whatever it is that you need to do in the day, because I understand procrastinating, okay? Okay. Marilyn Monroe, the star, the blonde bombshell, as people would like to say, the pinup girl, the model, the whatever it is that you know her as. I have been looking into her. One, because I don't really actually know a ton about her. And two, she's just so iconic that I'm like, I need to know, women in the past. I need to know more about iconic women in the past, because there's iconic men in the past that I feel like I know about, but I don't know enough about these iconic women throughout the past. And so I'm making that a point of mine to learn about. Another one that I want to learn about is Jackie Kennedy, which is kind of funny because I'm learning about Marilyn Monroe. Anyways, I also want to learn about Princess Diana. If you have any others that you think are just iconic, let me know. And maybe I'll do a deep dive on this channel learning about these people. And I also love a good conspiracy, and rest her soul, but there is a lot of conspiracy when it comes to her untimely demise. I don't know if I'm allowed to say death, so I get worried. So anyways, Marilyn Monroe. She was born in Los Angeles to Gladys Pearl Baker, and she spent her youth in foster homes and orphanages due to her mother's mental illness, which I did not know that. Very sad. She talks a lot about how obviously it was a very, very hard childhood due to even her foster homes not treating her very well, but her mother as well couldn't really focus on her and take care of her like she needed. I also learned that she was married off. I guess she chose to be married very, very young because she wanted freedom. And I'm sure the guy was nice. I'm not really sure. His name was James Dougherty. And basically it says she was married to him at the age of 16 to avoid returning to an orphanage. So sad. I can't even imagine. And she basically talks about how ever since she was young, she wanted to be a star, and she wanted to be a movie star, and would envision it and dream bigger than anybody else. And she knew that she was going to make it, or at least try and make it. And she had all these small roles where people started to be interested in her. And that's when, naturally, you get small roles and then you start getting bigger roles. So people were very interested in her after she especially dyed her hair blonde and straightened her hair from curl. Because if you don't know, she used to have brown, curly, kind of longer hair until she went to a modeling agency. And then there was this guy that was like, hey, we need to change your look. And then became, the iconic blonde hair, which I don't even know how her hair is not fried off, because I can barely dye my hair blonde without it struggling. And I was born blonde. Anyways, also, for those of you who don't know, which I feel like I knew and then I kind of forgot, her name was Norma Jean Mortensen, and then she had changed it later on to Marilyn Monroe, which I think was pretty cool. So she was married 3 times to James, the guy she married when she was 16, then the baseball star Joe, I can't say this name, DiMaggio, and the playwright Arthur Miller. She then died on August 5th, 1962. She died at the age of 36 from a barbiturate overdose, ruled probable suicide. But I feel like the reason why I was interested in her is also because of the things that she went through and how men especially underestimated her, and the way that people still treat her even in her death makes me so sad. And yes, she's still iconic and still amazing and did so many great works while she was alive, but her likeness and her image is still used today, and she doesn't get a penny from that. There's this story about her needing to make rent or make ends meet in some sort of way, and so she did this nude photo shoot for this calendar company, okay? Then when she started to kind of break out, the Playboy Mansion guy, the Playboy magazine guy, oh my gosh. It's probably a good thing I don't remember his name. But he found out that she had sold or she didn't really sell. She just did that photo shoot and didn't own the rights to those images, but the calendar company did. And so he went and paid $500 to the calendar company for those photos and then posted them for Playboy to like market his freaking magazine. And it's so sad because she didn't make a dime of that, and he probably made literally millions. He still probably, or that the funnel of Playboy still probably makes money off of that. But yeah, she like barely saw a dime about that, and she talks about how like she didn't, like they were asking her, do you feel embarrassed or do you regret your decision? And she was like, I just feel like I did nothing wrong because I did what I had to do the things that I wanted to do and to survive. And I feel like, in modern times, I look at things like OnlyFans and I'm like, this sounds to be a lot of the same. And the things that women have to do or struggle with back then are things that women are still having to do today. Not saying that OnlyFans girls, all of them are trying to make ends meet or like feel guilty about things or whatever. Obviously you do you. I don't even care. You go do your thing. But yeah, there's a lot of women out there that feel like they have to do those things to get somewhere or have to do those things to make money. And it's just a thing, and it's hard to deal with. And I feel like I keep thinking about like the Barbie monologue because it's so beautiful and true and utterly. The first time I watched that in theaters, I was just like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And in this article, written by this psychologist, Vielda Ciccioli, this article is amazing, and it basically talks about the same thing as like the Barbie monologue. There's this part in it that says, Marilyn Monroe personifies many conflict-ridden parts of women, particularly women of her generation. She was too frail, too funny, too sexual, too much, too big, and everything in between, and it was just reflected on the big screen. Marilyn was too much of a reminder of just how much female sexuality and identity was reliant on men and male sexuality. Jeez, can I read? And then it goes down to say, it was the stress of articulating herself as both sexy and intelligent, playful and smart, vulnerable and strong, needy and seductive, child and woman. Norma Jean and Marilyn Monroe, some of the very qualities and alternatives that first and second wave of feminism made possible for all women, that did in her. Marilyn Monroe's trajectory as a woman mirrors the construct of woman and its many embodied psychological and sociocultural meanings. As woman, we are always negotiating between daughter and self, child and woman, as we articulate our subjectivity. Despite the glamour and furor that surrounded her, Marilyn Monroe was a woman in search of herself, a woman in process. Gosh. I mean, yeah, even things that are happening today that are coming out in certain emails and whatever. Women have come so far, and yet there's always things, the main themes that keep happening over and over again. And I guess it's frustrating and it's hard to think about. Like I was having a conversation just barely about even women's sports and how they don't get as much viewership as men's sports, and men just choose not to watch women's sports. And women don't really watch women's sports, and how, there's such a pay gap. And actually Marilyn Monroe had a big pay gap as well to her male counterparts, even though she brought in so many box office sales for her being in the film. But it just makes me like, yeah, I get it. I guess for the sports, like if there's not viewership, there's not AdSense, then they can't pay as much. I'm like, really? Like, I'm sure there's execs up there that are making too much. And even my sister was a professional dancer for, maybe I shouldn't say, she was a professional dancer for the NFL. And her contract versus what the NFL players got paid, those girls had to have 2 to 3 extra jobs just to freaking afford to be an NFL dancer. At the very least, they need to make it a job that you can sustain your life off of. And these girls had to work in the clubs, had to do modeling on the side, had to do anything, literally anything, to just make ends meet because their dream was to be an NFL dancer. And yet the NFL can't pay them a livable wage to be a dancer. And their hours were crazy. Like, I'm sure they're working 40 hours a week and they're also traveling. I don't know. I don't even know. What am I even supposed to say here? Also, if you're a man and you're listening, I'm sorry. I don't know if this is the episode for you. It's just frustrating and it's hard. But then it's also ingrained into us to worry about our image so much. You know? It's hard. And I don't ever blame women for also like posting in certain ways, because like I understand it makes them feel beautiful, and I do the same thing. But then also posting in certain ways because they get paid. It's really something. And then you look at Marilyn Monroe's death, and even in death, people don't treat this lady with respect. I am pretty positive, and maybe I should look this up, but I'm pretty positive I just read a story about how where she is buried, men started buying plots of land or tombs next to her to be buried with her in death, or close to her in death. I'm like, you can't give this lady space and privacy. Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard. And we haven't even gotten into the conspiracies around it all. Very interesting. The timelines of the people that were with her don't make sense. Also, she was getting prescribed way too much medication for the things that she was dealing with. I read she had endometriosis, so she had a lot of pain, but then she also had a lot of psychological pain as well, which I don't blame the woman for wanting to feel better. And then there was like phone records that were missing, just poofed away. I know the autopsy, like there was stuff, not really with the person that performed it, but there was something about his superior that got rid of some evidence that was brought in from the autopsy. And they were like, oh, we just didn't have room for it anymore. And it's like, this lady was literally the biggest star in the world, and you didn't have room to store the evidence in case something came out that could change the narrative of around her death. That's very interesting to me. And if you guys know me, I do like the conspiracies. I do like them. Maybe a little too much sometimes. I'm a little tinfoil hat, but you know, all in good fun. And at the same time, it's like, we don't even know what's real and what's fake anymore. We don't even, especially with AI. Oh my gosh. I always have this happen now. I'll see a cool video. Okay, you know what? This is what we're going to talk about now. I will see a cool video, and I used to be like, wow, that's cool. Like someone doing a backflip on skis, or someone, I don't know, doing cool parkour, or a cat doing something funny, okay? And then instead of laughing or being amazed or being inspired, guess what I am now? I'm like, oh, I'm a pessimist. I'm like, oh, that's probably fake. It's probably fake. It's probably AI. That's annoying. That has destroyed my doom scrolling. Probably for the better. But at this time, like, I'm getting annoyed. I can't even look at the stuff anymore and not trust it and trust it, you know? And I feel like maybe that's a good thing that we know this technology is available, but also it's sad. You ruined my doom scrolling, AI. You ruined it. But you want to know someone that we need to give more praise for, that is not doing AI stunts, and that I believe is still real? Red Bull. Red Bull and Red Bull athletes. I had this dawn on me like 3 days ago that like I could look at videos online and I'm like, oh, that's probably fake. That's probably AI. Maybe I'm too much of a pessimist, but like maybe I'll look at the account a little bit and like try and see if it's AI or not. But that's just a lot of work. But if Red Bull posts something about someone doing something utterly insane on a random Tuesday morning, you bet your ass I'm going to think that that's real. And I appreciate that because there's still people going out and doing crazy things. Like Red Bull has this crazy video. You should go watch it. And it's of this guy and he's like skiing down and then there's an avalanche and he does a flip. They also do these crazy stunts with skiers and they'll go through like a city and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad to know that that is not AI and you are real. You are a person that is doing more than most on this planet. You are living more than most on this planet. And I commend you for that because I could never. That guy that dropped from like basically outer space in a freaking spacesuit and lived? How? I don't even, like, what? There's a lot of things we just, like, move on from, and I'm like, huh? What? Huh? That's also, like, especially with history, like, you know, with the printing press and with all this stuff. Not really the printing press, but, like, history surrounding that. I'm like, we just grazed past the fact that that happened, or people used to live like that. You know what? I think I just realized why historians are historians, because they probably read some batshit crazy stuff and they're like, we just grazed past that. We just went past it. And there's no one looking back on this and being like, maybe we should give this a second thought as to why this happened or what happened and why. That makes sense to me. I feel like I'm going to get into more history. That sounds so dumb. That sounds so like, I think I'm going to read more. Like, I don't know. I don't even know where to start. Actually, there is this YouTube video that's like the history of everything, which is really good. Maybe I'll start there again and rewatch it because it was really good. But I sit there and I'm like, where I'm most interested? I actually tried to look at like a Reddit forum of like where to go. Didn't help me. But yeah, I feel like to make sense of the world today, and also to be a better artist, a bit better creative, to make me be a better actress, a better musician, it kind of makes sense to look back at on the past and see what humans thought and really understand the human condition and humanity as a whole, or at least try to. I don't know if we could ever understand it. Because I will say, why is there so many people that you can actually blackmail? That's something I've been thinking about this week. Why? Not that it's happened, although that is shocking, and the things that happened in the emails are shocking. But why is there this many depraved, insane people that were blackmailable? How? Why is there this many? Am I just naive? Is there really that many people that are that crazy? Clearly there are. And then it makes me think about like the systems at play and what's happening and what's going to happen in the future. And I don't know what that even is. I don't even know what that is. What even goes from here? Crazy. Gosh, I feel like I need like a deep breath. Oh my gosh. Anyways, if you have anything, any historical person or thing that you think I should look into to better understand culture, or you just want me to look into, to comment on, I absolutely will. Comment down below. And yeah, I have also my Substack that I really, really, really want to at least do a little bit more work on, called The Bright Side. You can subscribe down below. And I have a Spotify playlist coming out, but the old one is for when the air gets crisp. All of my tunes that I listen to on a daily basis that make me feel better about the cold air, okay? But I'm going to make a new one. I don't know what it's titled yet. So if you have any songs for that, let me know down in the comments below. And other than that, I hope you guys have a great day and a great life. Go drink some water, go outside and see the sun, and I will see you next time. Bye.